Hello and welcome back to the Vinyl Brotherhood, where we like to kick back, take it easy, and just chat about music, whether it be the latest and greatest new releases or old favorites from years gone by. Today we are time traveling back to 1981 to review King Crimson's seminal album, Discipline. It's going to be a great time. I think you're going to enjoy it. I know I'm really pumped to talk about it, so sit back, relax, and we'll get started momentarily. It's nice to have everyone back here at the Vinyl Brotherhood. I hope you've all had a fantastic week. We've been doing quite well ourselves as we approach the 1-year anniversary of the channel. I feel like since we've started, we've made it a point to get me more familiarized with progressive rock, a subgenre that I was only mildly acquainted with going into our vinyl reviewing adventure. Well, I hope you've all been enjoying the journey as much as we have, because today we're reviewing yet another classic of the prog rock genre. This here is the 1981 comeback album Discipline by the one and only King Crimson, famous English prog band, but this time with a couple of Americans in tow as well. The only other King Crimson album I've listened to up till now is the vinyl community favorite, In the Court of the Crimson King. It's going to be nice to see what this band was up to at a very different point in their story. How had they navigated an ever-changing musical landscape as they started a new chapter following an extended hiatus? We'll answer that question and more, but as per usual, we're gonna throw this dude onto the turntable and give it a listen. Let's do that now. Okay, here's the album art. I'm gonna use my shirt as a backdrop for contrast, but yeah, red's a great color. Definitely going with the minimalist thing. I'm not really sure what this little emblem means, but it's nice to look at. And yeah, the back, just the basic information. We've got our lineup, and a very interesting thing here. It says, "Discipline is never an end in itself, only a means to an end." Produced by King Crimson and Rhett Davies. This is a 2018 pressing. Not a lot going here other than a little gallery of their catalog, also available. 50th anniversary box set. Interesting. Okay, anyway. I guess we can start by addressing the lineup changes. Robert Frippity Fripp is back at it again. King Crimson is his baby at the end of the day, so no surprise there. Bill Bruford is back on the drums. He too was with the band pre-hiatus. They're joined by Adrian Belew on guitars, and on the bass we've got mustachioed Tony Levin. He does the bass and other bassish duties. He spends a lot of time on this record, however, playing the Chapman stick, a very interesting stringed instrument that I'm not overly familiar with. Every member of this incarnation were already established musicians in the prog world at this point in time. Heck, Robert Fripp alone has been involved on countless records. So with everyone bringing their varied experience, it's safe to say that Discipline is something of a departure for the prog rock titans. I say prog in comparison to In the Court of the Crimson King, their first record. This one felt much more like new wavy art rock to me. This is the early 80s after all. I picked up on a Talking Heads feel as I was listening, and that's not a coincidence. I wasn't surprised to see that Adrian Belew actually has a bit of history with them. So if you're into that kind of stuff, chances are this will be your cup of tea as well. Honestly, a substantial portion of Discipline sounded a bit like math rock even, what with the frenetic noodly guitar lines perfectly overlapping on each other and weaving together throughout. But all these different sounds combined for something really unique and eclectic. I was blown away before I even got through minute 1 of Elephant Talk. This song gets the ball rolling. The song spends little time on letting us know what kind of ride we're in for. The Chapman stick and guitar snuggling up like it's Tetris are a thrill to take in. The drums are really catering to me here as well. I'm loving the extra attention given to the toms. And eventually we arrive at Adrian's eccentric vocal delivery, describing the many ways in which people verbally communicate. Frame to Frame is kind of in the same vein. Structurally, it goes back and forth between two main parts. The frenetic jam out portion, masterfully executed with notable precision, and then they hit the brakes for some lyrics with vocals that are significantly more musical than what we heard on Elephant Talk. The song isn't as much of a thrill after subsequent listens when you know what to expect, but still, it's a delight to pick apart the closely entwined elements. And finally, we arrive at what I consider to be a standout, track 3, Mate Kudasai. My goodness, what a gorgeous song. They capture that pain expressed in the lyrics so well with the guitars, it's unreal. It practically transports you into the world of the song. It really is quite evocative sonically speaking as well. The guitar tones are vibrant and colorful, and the spacious mix definitely contribute to that as well. In many ways, Mate Kudasai is the most conventional King Crimson gets on this album in terms of song structure and musicality. Nonetheless, it's a stunningly beautiful song to just sit back and absorb. And from there we go from 0 to 60 into Indiscipline, another song that rules. Who am I kidding? Every song on here rules. The band comes down like a sledgehammer for the instrumental passages. The guitar work is decidedly hard-edged and angular, but my favorite part is to hear Bruford going wild on the drums. Adrian's spoken word segments are amusing. According to Mr. Internet, he's reciting a letter his wife wrote to him about a painting that she's working on. It's the most intense song about critiquing one's own painting that I believe I've ever listened to. Indiscipline is followed by a really special tune that I found impossible to ignore, Thela Hun Jinjit. Scramble the letters around and you get Heat in the Jungle. They are sounding very funky and fresh and a little on the post-punk side here. The rhythm section is somewhat exotic and gets the song moving as they perform with relentless ferocity. The snare hits just right on this track and I love every second. The spoken word element is a lot of fun to engage with on repeat listens, or maybe fun isn't the right word. I'm just saying that I was really drawn into Adrian's retelling of an actual run-in he had with some unsavory characters and eventually law enforcement on the streets of New York City. Thela Hun Jinji is such a blast. You'll probably be doing the Thela Hun Jinji chant yourself in no time. Truly, I feel like it takes many of this album's most exciting ideas and presents them in their best iteration, nicely contained in a 6.5 minute tour de force. Things slow down again for a dark and esoteric instrumental piece called The Sheltering Sky. They really do create a nice soundscape, don't they? It's a very intriguing tune. The striking synths and the esoteric guitar lead sort of holds you captive, and they contrast the simmering musical backdrop in a way that I wasn't expecting. The biggest disadvantage this song has is that it's sandwiched between the two boisterous, high-concept songs, so please try not to let The Sheltering Sky get lost in the shuffle. The last song, Discipline, the title track, presents us with a really interesting concept. The members were discouraged from taking the lead, so there's nobody in the spotlight, but they were also not allowed to simply settle in the background. I'm really impressed by the results and I find the concept very fascinating. That's the kind of thoughtful exploration that really makes for an interesting tune. It's a great track, although it didn't necessarily give me the feeling of completion that I typically like at the end of an album. Still, this album as a whole made for a really engaging listen. It really drew me in a way that doesn't happen all that often for me these days. So, speaking as an outsider, I couldn't really tell you what the perception of this album is from the point of view of the King Crimson following. As a fan of good, well-written music, this album provided the thrills that I feel have been slightly lacking in my music listening journey, and I'm always on the hunt for the perfect song, and Discipline's got a couple of contenders that I imagine will be making their way to a playlist very soon. But frankly, this is an album that needs to be listened to in its entirety. It's not even 40 minutes, so by no means a chore. As long as you actually listen to it, you definitely should. So I've got only a few final thoughts. We're gonna take this back to the couch and wrap things up. I can tell you with all certainty that Discipline is not an album that I'll be forgetting very soon. What can I say? King Crimson really took me on something of a ride, albeit a short one. It's pretty different and avant-garde, but I think it has just enough pop sensibility to be accessible to the uninitiated. Now, it's not an album that works in any given setting. Speaking for myself, I think there's a time and place for it, but I don't really see me throwing it on when I just want to take it easy and sing along to something. But that's neither here nor there. This album is hugely enjoyable. It's very original, and the level of musicianship on display is quite respectable and even admirable. If you ask me, I think Discipline by King Crimson falls squarely in the 8.5 range. It's interesting, it's plenty of fun, and I'm happy to give it a ringing endorsement. I review a lot of old favorites on this channel, but occasionally I like to discover music that's new to me and share my early impression with you guys, and you've all been great at bringing me up to speed in the past. So please share your King Crimson hot takes with me in the comments below, along with any other impressions and feedback. I always appreciate it. And while you're at it, remember to like, subscribe, etc. And feel free to visit the official Instagram while you're at it. We've got fun things going on over there. I think that's about all the time we have for today. So thanks for watching, have a splendid week, and we'll see you back here very soon at the Vinyl Brotherhood.